Oh, hello there, and welcome back to our channel, Pharma Zone, A to Z of pharmacy. One stop where you can learn anything related to pharmacy and PharmD. In this particular video, we're going to learn about structure of the cell, plasma membrane and its permeability, and cell organelles. So let's get right into it. It's the second chapter of the HAP, Study of the Cell. As we all know, cell is the basic structural and functional unit of all multicellular organisms. It is defined as the membrane-bound structure that occurs as a functional independent unit of life. Cell is a basic building block of human body and other living beings. A cell can work independently by performing functions like that of an unicellular organism, or can get organized and function in units in multicellular organisms. The function of the cell depends upon specific genetic information which is stored in DNA, based on which cell gets involved in metabolism, reproduction, protein synthesis, DNA replication, etc. Let's see structure of the cell now. Cell consists of cytoplasm, Golgi apparatus, centrioles, endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes, cell membrane, mitochondrion, nucleolus, lysosome, chromosomes, and nucleus. It is a structural and functional unit or building block of living body. Robert Hooke is credited with the discovery of cell in the late 1600s. A cell is studied under three generalized headings, that is, the plasma membrane. It is a protective covering continuous with the cell which encloses and protects the various cell organelles. Next is cytoplasm. It is the region in which the cell organelles are present. Next is nucleus. It is the chief component of a cell which contains the genetic material. Now let's study each in detail. First is the plasma membrane. Living cells are enclosed by a flexible and selective barrier called the plasma membrane, which protects the cellular components. It is about 80 Armstrong thick and acts as a barrier between the external and internal environment of the cell. The widely accepted model for plasma membrane was proposed by Singer and Nicholson, which was called the fluid mosaic model. According to this model, the plasma membrane contains basic lipid bilayer structure with a mosaic of protein lodged in it. The basic lipid bilayer of the plasma membrane contains three different lipid molecules. They are phospholipids. It comprises of 75% of total lipid molecules and contains phosphate groups. The next is cholesterol. It comprises of 20% of the total lipid molecule and contains a steroidal ring with a hydroxy group. And the last is the glycolipids. It comprises of 5% of the total lipid molecule and contains carbohydrate group. Membrane lipids are amphibic in nature. That is both hydrophilic and hydrophobic. Hydrophilic is nothing but water-loving, that is polar N. Hydrophobic is nothing but water-hating N, that is non-polar. In plasma membrane, phospholipid molecules are arranged in such a way that the head contains phosphate group, which is hydrophilic in nature. In plasma membrane, phospholipid molecules are arranged in such a way that head containing phosphate group, which is hydrophilic in nature, faces outwards. The long fatty acid biles are hydrocarbon chains and are hydrophobic in nature. They are arranged in such a way that the hydrocarbon tails of each layer faces each other. Cholesterol molecules are scattered within the lipid bilayer. Now let's see membrane proteins. Membrane proteins which are present in plasma membrane are either extrinsic or intrinsic. Extrinsic proteins are bound to the polar surface of lipids and to the hydrophilic ends of other proteins on the surface of plasma membrane. Intrinsic proteins are firmly embedded within the lipid bilayer. Some proteins which completely penetrate the membrane and pass through the width of the membrane are often referred as transmembrane proteins. Integral proteins are amphiphatic, containing both hydrophilic and hydrophobic ends. Hydrophilic ends extend into the aqueous environment, either cytosol or extracellular fluid, while hydrophobic end fits with the fatty acid tails. These cell membrane proteins have the following functions. Integral proteins have an important role in selective transport of certain substance across the phospholipid bilayer, either serving as channels or as active transport molecules. Some integral protein may function as receptors that bind to hormones and transmit corresponding signals to the interior of the cell. Other integral proteins may exhibit enzymatic activity wherein they serve to catalyze various chemical reactions related to the plasma membrane. Integral and peripheral proteins may also act as linkers that provide structural stability and shape to the cell by anchoring the proteins located in the plasma membranes of the neighboring cell to one another. Glycoproteins and glycolipids may function as cell identity markers. That is, they help a cell to recognize other cells of the same origin during tissue formation or may help to initiate an immune response against the antigens. Membrane proteins also take part in activities like attaching cells to one another, changing the shape of the cells during cell division, and moving cell organelles within the cell. The key functions of these cell membrane proteins are junctions, that is, serve to connect and join two cells together, enzymes, fixing to membranes, localize metabolic pathways, transportation, that is, responsible for felicitated diffusion and active transport. Recognition may function as markers for cellular identification. Anchorage, attachment points for cytoskeleton and cellular matrix. Transduction, that is, function as receptors for peptide hormones. Now let's see transport system of the cell membrane. It is the passage of molecules in and out of the cells through cell membrane. It can be of passive transport or active transport. In passive transport, ions or molecules move across the plasma membrane down the concentration gradient, that is, moving from region of high concentration to the region of low concentration until equilibrium is reached. These ions or molecules move by utilizing their own kinetic energy. Passive transport is subclassified into diffusion and facilitated transport. Diffusion, it is the movement of molecule from a region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration across the membrane due to the concentration gradient. For example, flow of lipid soluble molecules, water, gases, etc. Facilitate transport. It is similar to diffusion but occurs due to concentration gradient and carrier protein. For example, in liver and RBCs, glucose move across the cell membrane by carrier protein in both the direction, depending upon concentration of glucose inside and outside. Now let's see active transport. This process involves the movement of solute particles in only one direction across the plasma membrane against the concentration gradient, that is, uphill transport, using energy obtained from the hydrolysis of ATP or the energy stored in an ionic concentration gradient. Active transport is further subclassified into active movement or bulk movement. Active movement, movement of substance against concentration gradient due to carrier protein and energy. For example, absorption of glucose, amino acid, minerals from small intestine to blood, and sodium and potassium exchange pump. Now let's see bulk movement. Bulk movement is further subclassified into exocytosis and endocytosis. In exocytosis, materials is transported through carrier vesicles which discharge its contents outside the cell. It is also called as cell vomiting. For example, in amoeba, the undigested food left behind in food vacuoles eliminated outside by exocytosis. Endocytosis is nothing but intake of material from outside through plasma membrane by producing an intracellular membrane bounded vesicles. That is further classified into pinocytosis or phagocytosis. Pinocytosis is nothing but cell drinking, intake of liquid. Phagocytosis is nothing but cell eating, that is intake of solid. The next structure of cell is cytoplasm. The inner region of the plasma membrane is known as cytoplasm. It contains two major components, that is cytosol and cell organelles, excluding nucleus. Cytoplasm is filled with an intracellular semi-transparent liquid called cytosol, which makes up about 55% of the total volume of the cell. It is made up of 75 to 90% of water and various types of substance such as ions, glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, proteins, lipids, and ATP. In the cytosol, various chemical reactions take place which are necessary for the survival of the cell. For example, glycolysis. It also maintains the shape and general organization of cellular content and is also responsible for cellular movement. Third structure of the cell is cytoskeleton. Cytoskeleton is a network of protein filament unique to the cytoplasm of eukaryotic cells. The tiny strands of protein form the structure of cytoskeleton and other organelles. The three filamentous protein present in cytoskeleton include microtubules, microfilaments, and intermediate filaments. Microtubules are the largest, long, unbranched, hollow tube-like structures which are made up of protein called tubulin. They are responsible for providing shape to the cell. Organelles like secretory vesicles, chromosomes, cilia, flagella move with the help of microtubules. The main functions of microtubules are maintenance of cell shape, cell motility, chromosome movement in the cell division, and organelle movements. The second is microfilaments. Microfilaments are thin structures which are extensively found at the cell's periphery. They are made up of protein called actin. Microfilaments help in muscle contraction, cell division, and cell locomotion. They impart strength and shape to the cell. They also give mechanical support to non-motile, microscopic finger-like extensions of plasma membrane called microvilli. The main functions of microfilaments are maintenance of cell shape, changes in cell shape, muscle contraction, cytoplasmic streaming, cell motility, and cell division. The third is intermediate filaments. These are strong rope-like components of the cytoskeleton whose thickness lies in between that of microtubules, that is the thickest, and the microfilaments, that is the thinnest. They provide stability to other organelles like nucleus and help in attachment of cell to one another. The main functions of intermediate filaments are maintenance of cell shape, anchorage of nucleus and certain other organelles, formation of nuclear lamina. The next structure is centrosome. Centrosome is an organelle consisting of a pair of centrioles, oriented at right angles to each other and surrounded by pericentriolar material. They are the microtubule organizing centers located close to the nucleus. They help the formation of bipolar mitotic spindle during cell division. The fifth structure is locomotory organelles. It is of two types, cilia and flagella. The singular form of cilia is cilium. The cell surface contains many short hair-like motile projections called cilia. Each cilium is attached to the plasma membrane through the basal body and it's composed of 10 pairs of microtubules. They are abundantly found in respiratory tract and cellular lining of uterine tubes. The coordinated movement of the cilia help the movement of mucus or fluid along the cell surface. Ciliary movement plays an important role in the propulsion of oocytes, that is eggs, from the fallopian tubes into the uterus in females. Flagella. The structure and composition of flagella is similar to that of the cilia, but they are much longer in size than cilia. They are made up of a protein called flagellin. Unlike cilia, which moves only the fluid along the cell surface, flagella helps in the movement of the entire cell. The sixth cell structure is endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum is a network of membrane folded in the form of flattened sacs of tubules called cisternae. The thickness of endoplasmic reticulum is about 80 angstrom and it is interconnected with nuclear envelope and plasma membrane. It may act as cell's mini circulatory system, wherein it transports substances from one region of the cell to another cisternae. It is of two types, that is, rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum is also called as alpha cytomembranous or granular endoplasmic reticulum. It extends from the nuclear envelope into the cytoplasm in the form of cisternae. The presence of ribosome on the outer surface of endoplasmic reticulum is responsible for the roughness of the membrane. Rough endoplasmic reticulum are abundantly present in the cells which are involved in the transport of proteins. For example, pancreatic cells. Rough endoplasmic reticulum is the main site for protein synthesis. It also involved in production of phospholipids. Next is smooth endoplasmic reticulum. It is also called as beta cytomembranous or agranular endoplasmic reticulum. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum is continuous with the rough endoplasmic reticulum and lacks ribosome on its outer surface. It is abundant in the cortisol cells of adrenal glands, gonads, that is testis and the ovary, and hepatocytes. It is involved in the production of fatty acids and steroids. It detoxifies drug and other harmful substances. The seventh structure in the cell is the ribosomes. Ribosomes are tiny bilobed dark structures which are 100 to 150 Armstrong in diameter. They are ribonucleoproteins made up of proteins and 60% of ribosomal RNA, that is rRNA. In cell, some ribosomes are attached to the outer nuclear membrane which is folded into a series of flattened sacs called the rough endoplasmic reticulum, while the other ribosomes are freely scattered throughout the cytoplasm and are called free ribosomes. Ribosomes contain two subunits, that is, large subunit and the small subunit, which are produced separately within the nucleus. They are responsible for protein synthesis. The eighth structure in the cell is lysosome. These are darkly stained single membraned organelles with diameter of 0.5 to 1 micrometer formed from the Golgi complex. These organelles contain hydrolytic and digestive enzymes. More than 60 lysosomal enzymes have been discovered so far, including the beta-glucuronidase, deoxyribonuclease, ribonuclease, lipase, protease, peptidase, phosphatase, and sulfatase. These enzymes are required to break down the food molecules and cellular constituents. These enzymes are active at acidic pH of 5. Lysosomes are responsible for autophagy, that is, intracellular digestion of endogenous or cytoplasmic contents or organelles by cell's own lysosomal enzymes. The ninth structure of the cell is Golgi complex or Golgi apparatus. Golgi complex consists of a series of 3 to 20 flattened, slightly bent double membrane sacs called cisternae. Cisternae differ from each other with respect to size, shape, and enzymatic activity. They are extensively found in cells that secrete proteins, indicating that they are involved in the processing and packaging of proteins. They are distinguished into three types, that is, entry or cis phase cisternae. They are close to rough endoplasmic reticulum and accept proteins from them. They are convex in shape. The second one is exit phase cisternae or trans phase cisternae. They are found near to plasma membrane and are concave in shape. They further modify the molecules and then sort and pack them for transporting them to their destination. The third one is medial cisternae. They are formed between cis and trans phases. They form lipoproteins, glycoproteins, and glycolipids. The 10th structure in the cell is peroxisome or microbodies. Peroxisomes are simple, spherical, membrane-bound vesicles in the cytoplasm without DNA or ribosomes. They bud off from the endoplasmic reticulum and contain more than 50 oxidative enzymes which oxidizes organic substances such as amino acids and fatty acids. The main function of peroxisome is to destroy harmful free radicals, that is, active chemical substances containing single electron. The 11th structure in the cell is proteosomes. Proteosomes are small barrel-shaped structures which are abundantly present in the cytosol and nucleus. They contain an enzyme protease which catalyzes the breakdown of larger molecules into smaller ones. For example, breakdown of proteins into peptides. These peptides are further broken down into amino acids which take part in the formation of new protein molecules. They are responsible for the digestion of unwanted or waste proteins. The 12th structure in the cell is mitochondria, also called powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria are tiny, rod-shaped filamentous granular bodies with dimensions ranging from zero point 0.5 to 5 micrometer. They are abundant in the myocytes, hepatocytes, kidney cells, heart, as these tissues utilize large amount of ATP to carry out cellular process. They are enclosed by a trilaminar double membrane. The outer and the inner mitochondrial membranes are separated by intermembrane space, which is filled with fluid called matrix. The outer mitochondrial membrane contains transmembrane proteins called porins. Small molecules or ions move freely across the mitochondria and other intermembrane space through the porins. Inner mitochondrial membrane is folded into several compartments called cristae. Cristae increases the total surface area of the inner membrane and facilitate in ATP production. The cristae of the inner membrane consist of several knob-like particles called elementary particles containing mitochondrial enzymes. These enzymes catalyze aerobic reproduction reactions which results in ATP production. Since mitochondria contributes to 95% of the cell's energy demand, it is referred as the powerhouse of the cell. The 13th structure in the cell is the nucleus. Nucleus is oval shaped or spherical, prominent and largest organelle of the cell. It is regarded as the headquarters or the control center of the cell as it contains genetic material or the DNA that contains instructions or genetic information required for cell reproduction and building of the whole body. Nucleus shows three recognizable structure. Those are nuclear envelope, nucleolus and chromatin. First, let's see nuclear envelope. Nucleus is separated from the cytoplasm by a bilayer lipid membrane that is similar to plasma membrane called nuclear membrane or nuclear envelope. This membrane encloses the nucleoplasm, a jelly-like fluid into which the other nuclear elements are found. The two layers are separated by a fluid-filled space and fuse at various points, forming nuclear pores. A nuclear pore shows a large central opening which is about 10 times larger than those present in plasma membrane. Those pores regulate the movement of substance across the cytoplasm, that is, between the nucleus and the cytoplasm. The second one is nucleolus. These are small, dark-stained, dense, spherical, membraneless bodies found in the nucleus. They serve as the site for ribosome synthesis, rRNA production particularly. Each nucleolus is essentially an assemble of proteins, DNA and RNA. Nucleoli are found in myocytes and hepatocytes as these synthesize large amount of proteins. The last one is chromatin. In non-dividing cells, DNA combines with proteins and forms a loose network of bumpy, diffused, granular mass called chromatin. During cell division, chromatin thread coils and forms a dense rod-like structure called chromosome. Each chromosome is a long, highly coiled and folded molecules of DNA that is combined with several protein molecules. Human somatic cells consist of exactly 46 chromosomes, that is 23 pairs, inherited from each parent. The genetic material or the hereditary units called genes are arranged along these chromosomes that control cellular structure and direct cellular functions. Kindly look into the description for notes and reference books. Also, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more videos. Thank you.